So thank you, Anthony, for that overview of your business. Right now, we're going to enter the Q&A section. But before we do that, I'd like to let our listeners know today that if there were some questions that we don't address in the Q&A section, you can always email Little Grapevine at conferences@littlegrapevine.com. We'll make sure to get those questions to Anthony so we can answer them for you. So Anthony, let's go into the Q&A here. Please describe your first couple of years as CEO and the events that led up to making a decision to divest some of the legacy businesses once you got here.
Okay, so I came in 2012, and the business was primarily a data center construction business, building out data centers for both federal and commercial clients. What we found was that business was very project-based, very low margin, a lot of players, much larger players in the industry. And so we began to look at how could we become more of a pure service provider, including an acquisition we did in 2013 of a systems integration business that was supporting both modular and other IT integration, both from a client and rack and stack basis. So we made a pivot to exit that business in late 2016. And have been basically profitable since then. So it was a big pivot. We moved our headquarters from Baltimore or in the Maryland area to Austin, Texas, and it has proven to be a great decision for the business overall.
Great. And along those same lines, continuing with that same frame of mind here, were there any unforeseen challenges that delayed your turnaround after you joined the company? And how did you, if there were, how did you deal with it?
Yeah, it was a balancing act of trying to ramp one side of the business while not, destroying kind of the base of the business. So as you turn around, it's never perfect timing. It can get a little messy. One of the challenges that we did run into is we financed the acquisition of the systems integration business using some working capital, and then at the same time, our largest customer was going through a take private exercise. So that became some challenges for us as it affected the volume of business going through our integration business.
Great. Thanks for that overview of your beginnings. Let's just go into talking about your customer, and your concentration, diversification goals moving forward. So please describe the nature of your relationship with your largest customer and how long have you had that customer, I guess, too.
Yeah, via the both our legacy business in the modular space and the system integration business, we've been doing business with that customer for over 10 years. And we're primarily a service provider to them and a technology partner that helps them deliver the IT assets into the marketplace in a more efficient fashion.
I think it's important to understand what you do for your customers, in any public company we're looking at, actually. So tell us what do you do that's so special for them that others maybe can't do? How do you save them money?
Yeah, so what we do is we are a fully integrated provider, so end to end, and so we're able to take a number of steps out of the process and do a number of these things together in one seamless fashion, and we improve the quality because we take some of the delivery of the assets away from the field and then integrate them in a factory where it's not as messy, it's a lot cleaner, and we're delivering a full turnkey solution to the various data centers, et cetera.
Is there any stickiness to the business, or can the customers pretty much? Well, I'm talking like a largest customer. How sticky is that relationship, and what may make them leave the company?
So we have a few segments of our business, which includes the system integration and also our modular deployment and maintenance business. So being an end-to-end partner, it's we're fully integrated and provided a turnkey area for them. So this keeps the relationship pretty sticky. We're, even as of today, we're deemed a critical infrastructure partner. So we've remained open through the COVID-19, et cetera, delivering their product for them. And our service partner relationship, because it's end to end, would have to be replaced by a number of other partners. So we've been able to put a fully integrated solution together, which makes the relationship much more sticky.
Now, in prior, I think, conference calls in the past and even press releases, you've talked about wanting to maybe diversify your customer base over time. But it looks like your relationship with your largest customer has been expanding. Maybe you could talk about how that affects your customer diversification goals and maybe why it is expanding.
Yeah, so we've been able to, again, offer more and more solutions to our primary customer, and quite frankly, they're our biggest opportunity. They're very large, and we're doing a relatively small piece of their business. Although we pass through $1 billion of hardware a year through our facilities. So while a priority to continue to work on customer diversification, our biggest opportunities in the short run are sort of the low-hanging fruit are around our biggest customer.
So as you do explore opportunities that exist outside your current large customer relationship, do you think these will be cultivated through direct relationships with end customers, or maybe more partnership relationships like your current customer?
Yeah, kind of our strategy is built around what we call a sell with. So if you think about our customers, sort of in the channel, they have thousands of salespeople that are out working deals with various federal and commercial customers, and on a very large scale. And then what we do is help solution the requirements that are needed by the end customers. So our strategy is not to have a large sales force, but to have some senior guys that can work on solutioning and delivering via that partnership to the end customer. It would be prohibitively expensive for us to try to go touch all these end customers, and quite frankly, as a smaller customer, a lot of times it's tough to be able to work with very, very large end customers, which is primarily what we deliver to.
So let's move on now into understanding your business a little more deeply and some of the opportunities in front of you. So maybe you can help us understand the onboarding process of a new customer relationship that comes maybe from your larger customer, right? I think that's how the process works. They send you business. So how does that onboarding process work? And maybe you can explain a little more how that works, actually.
Yeah. So are you talking about new customers, or are you talking about how we engage with our current customers in delivering solutions for them on behalf? What's that? Current customer. Yeah. So what happens is, again, back to my sell with statement, we very early on in the process, as they begin to work with their end user customers, we're brought in to look at how to deliver that solution in the most efficient way. And so they lean on us to look at how do we, how can we best deliver the best solution for their end customer. And so we then go through and have new product introductions, new service introduction meetings, and are able to kind of bring that business along for them. So as part of the meetings that we do jointly with their end customers, we're a critical piece of it, because we're effectively the operating arm that's delivering that solution to their end customer.
So if we talk about their end customer, your customer's end customer, actually, is there a stickiness that's created in that relationship? Because I guess you are touching them and communicating with them, or is there not?
Yeah, so you have to have credibility in the marketplace to be able to um, be able to deliver to many of the end customers. So we built a lot of credibility both with our partner, and and we're able to solution out, and there's a lot of credibility that takes place in there, and that part is the piece that makes it very sticky. People within our customer base will go, yeah, well, let's use TSS because they do a good job. So we've built, most of the customers know that we're delivering. They come and do tours of our facility. We have people in the field that are TSS employees that go out and see that, make deployments in the field, et cetera. So we're deemed, as a kind of critical partner, and that lends itself to a lot of credibility for our customer to be able to go deliver to their end customer.
So Anthony, can you talk about now your reseller business? This is something you recently entered, and how it's still with your largest customer. So how does it differ? How does the procurement of supplies differ? How does the relationship with the customers different than it is? And maybe tell us why this is a direction that your large customer is going with you.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, there's well, most of the hardware, both IT, servers and switches and modules, et cetera. Well, most of that is, sort of consigned to us. We've found that we can provide our end customer with a more efficient channel. So instead of them having to hand off to a typical value-added reseller, they're able to capture that revenue on their paper and sort of disintermediate the channel. So in the value-added resellers who are going to go take margin on those deals and are potentially even going to use competitive products to our customer. So the reseller business, if we do a small percentage of the overall hardware that we pass through, and we can do 10 or 20%, that's $100 or $200 million reseller business. And we've managed to structure it in a way that our cash to cash cycle will allow us to add little margin on that, but basically have a lot of it fall through to the bottom line. And the other piece of it is it drags along other services. So we pull more services through by offering this reseller side. We've been able to provide value in that by helping them keep it on the services on their paper and not have to use the channel as much.
You want to take us through like maybe a case study through how your relationship, some of your clients work, maybe through some of through your organization. You have a system integration, you got facility services and reseller program now, obviously. So maybe you want to any kind of case study to help us understand your business a little more.
Yeah, so let's say large IT provider X is looking to our customer to deliver full rack integrated racks into their data centers. We can provide the full system integration in our facility as opposed to doing it on site. And by doing it on site, it's a lot messier. So we've kind of developed a second touch method where we will go and build out the full rack, and instead of 6 to 8 pallets and arriving at the data center and having to have people in the field integrate it, we deliver the final rack in a full turnkey fashion. So that enables their end customer experience to be much better.
Okay, so could you talk about maybe the operating leverage you may or maybe not have in your business?
Yeah, so we look at things, and as I showed in the presentation, we kind of have a base of labor that we use, and that's sort of fixed. So, and our facility cost in Round Rock is sort of fixed. Our field staff is sort of fixed. So as we grow the business, we're able to leverage that fixed cost more and more. And so, we can drop an additional 40% of once we get over break even to the bottom line.
Now, when you do look at your current service offering lineup, which do you think some have the most upside? Which ones have the most upside, and are there some that you don't necessarily think have upside?
Well, obviously our systems integration side we think has a lot of upside. And we're currently in one facility, but we could be in multiple facilities as we move forward. But that piece has a lot of upside. On the facilities services and deployment side, as edge solutions get more and more prevalent, our ability to deliver in the field, additional edge solutions and then get the ongoing maintenance of those is another fairly large opportunity as edge solutions roll out. In our reseller program, one of the things that comes into play is we get introduced to a number of software providers, professional service providers, other kind of ancillary hardware providers, etc. So we have an opportunity now with a new relationship with many of these customers, potential customers, to onboard them as they've worked with us through some of the programs that our largest customer does. So we see that as an opportunity. We're also working on bringing on board. It's a longer sales cycle, but bringing on board some other large OEMs.
Anthony, you recently hired an individual for business development, I think, and can you talk about, again, when did you do that, obviously, and why did you do it, and how's that coming along?
Yeah, so again, we don't have a large staff, but getting kind of senior guys with great skills would enable us to do more business. So while we have a lot of focus on the low-hanging fruit around our key customer that we're concentrated with today, we've now got somebody on board that's working on all these third-party relationships and developing those. And so we made a conscious decision to basically change out a couple junior people and add a more senior person, because our solutions are they're complicated and they need to be presented in a proper fashion. So this individual has a lot of experience working with large OEMs and various other customers through the channels. So we made a conscious decision to put more wood behind the arrow in the development of this third-party business.
Great. And on this, lastly here on product and understanding business opportunities, how do you ensure and monitor product quality of service?
Yeah, so we have a number of metrics that we run through the various businesses, or business segments. So in our systems integration business, we use basically ISO type procedures and make sure we do surveys. We use SurveyMonkey to do surveys on how the experience was for the end customer, etc. And then on the field work, we have a number of metrics there as well. In generally, if we're monitoring a data center or a modular data center implementation, we generally have 4-hour response times to any alarms that are developed from a BMS system, and then we report on how we responded to all those metrics, and then we do quarterly business reviews with our customer, where we review all those metrics and look at the quality of service and how overall customer sat was at the end user level was performed.
Now, to your knowledge, are there any other customers out there, competitors, that have a one-stop solution kind of like you do?
Yeah, there really isn't anybody that does both the system integration and the facility services. They're usually two different companies. We've kind of carved those into two segments. So we deliver it as one solution. So from that standpoint, there isn't a lot of competitors that do all of these things. However, individually, if somebody just providing system integration, there's a number of competitors out there in the field There's for facility services, there's competitors, but there really isn't. There are not common names between the two. So our ability to go offer the integration, offer the facility services, and now add on to it that we're willing to procure and deliver on a reseller basis the hardware. So you tend to get we have competitors in each of those segments, but we don't have anybody that pulls it all together.
I guess we'd have to ask you about COVID-19, maybe the good and bad, if there is any opportunity out there. I'm sure it's actually there's certainly some maybe pause in the business because of what's going on. But maybe you could talk about the overall kind of short-term kind of feel you're getting from COVID-19 and how you view it maybe in the midterm to long-term for your business.
Yeah, so one of the things that you've probably seen in the marketplace is the IT requirements have changed and grown, right? Everybody's doing more video, more work from home, etc. We've maintained, we've been open all through this, and we've seen an uptick in business related to the deployment of additional IT assets to support this virtual world where people aren't in the office working together, but they need other tools and systems to go ahead and deliver. Long term, we believe that the things are going to change kind of forever, and so we're really exploring the opportunities of how can we best position our infrastructure and what other things should we be adding to support this kind of change in the overall work environment, which we don't think is going to change. We think it's going to be kind of forever changed. So we see it as an opportunity, and we're trying to see how we can best leverage these changes. Change introduces opportunity. So the question is, how do you position and put yourself in the best place? And we think we've got a core set of solution. We've got a core solution set that can help deliver that, and then we believe we can add to that as we go forward to address the changes in the marketplace. So we see this kind of change as an overall opportunity. We have been obviously we've been running full blast through the past few months, and we've obviously taken care to make sure all our employees are safe, and we've done some split shifting, a split of our shifts. We've done some social distancing in our plant. We've restricted some visitors during this period, et cetera. But we've been able to address the near term issues pretty well. But I think the bigger picture question that we're addressing and looking at is what opportunities do these changes foresee for us, and so what pivots do we make to be positioned well in the new world, if you will.
Okay, on a related note, how does your balance sheet look right now? I mean, in terms of being able to go through the crisis, and even in general. I mean, I think you had some debt in the balance sheet. How do you feel about that aspect going forward, just in terms of you need to raise capital or be able to grow organically for some time?
Yeah, I mean, just 3 or 4 years ago, our balance sheet was in tough shape. The thing we've been able to do is through generating operating profit and so forth, rebuild our balance sheet to where it's in a strong position. That gives us the opportunity to do the reseller business. It gives us the opportunity to go invest in new opportunities, et cetera. So, our balance sheet today is strong. And we've done it not through doing equity raises, so we haven't diluted. We've taken on a little bit of debt, but at the end of the day, we've been able to kind of reposition the balance sheet. So today we have a pretty strong balance sheet without having to go out and raise specific equity, and so we've funded it all and grown or restructured the balance sheet all through operating results, which I think is the best way to do it. And so we feel pretty comfortable with where we are today, and it's affording us a lot of opportunities. Like, as an example, we wouldn't have been able to step into the reseller program where we need 20, 30, $40 million access to credit, and so we've been able to, because the shape of our balance sheet today, we're able to kind of do that, and then also we're able to kind of manage the cash to cash cycle, so it's positive as opposed to, being highly levered on that side. So oftentimes we collect the money before we pay the money. So all of that has worked out, and it was a really good thing we've done in divesting some of our orphaned assets that were around the business, and so we've raised some cash through doing that. And we feel pretty good about where we are today, and don't see any short-term need for additional capital.
Well, thank you very much, Anthony, for your time. It's a great job answering the questions. Again, if you're listening to the presentation and you have questions for Anthony Angelini, CEO of TSSI, definitely just email those questions to conferences@littlegrapevine.com, and we'll make sure to get those to him. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Maj. I appreciate the call.
Great.